Hi, this is Chris Young, and welcome to Good News on Tap for the fourth Sunday of Ordinary Time. I've lived in this house since I was 3 years old, and for the first 20 years or so, we had the same neighbors next door. Their son Mike was 2 years older than me, so we weren't really close friends, but we did hang out some, and we liked to play a lot of Monopoly together. When Mike grew up, he went off to dental school, and after graduation, he opened a family dentistry practice not far from here. Since we'd been friends with his family for so long, we decided to make him our family dentist. It seemed like a reasonable decision at the time. I'll never forget, however, one day when my dad came home from a dental appointment after having some work done on infected gum. Mike had written my dad a prescription for an antibiotic. My dad and Mom looked at each other kind of strangely, and Mom says, "Are you going to fill it?" Dad replied hesitantly, "Yeah, I guess so." Even though they trusted that Mike had graduated from dental school and was completely licensed to practice, they still couldn't get the image out of their head that he was still the little boy next door that used to play Monopoly with me. Now, it turns out he did fill this prescription, and Mike's been our family dentist for over 25 years, but we were a little hesitant at the beginning. The people in this week's gospel have the same problem. Jesus stood up in the synagogue and read a passage from Isaiah proclaiming all sorts of wonderful things that God has promised his people. Glad tidings to the poor, liberty to captives, sight to the blind, a year of favor from the Lord. Then Jesus goes on to say that his predictions have been fulfilled in their presence. While their initial reaction was one of great joy that God was fulfilling his promises to them, there was still a part of them that said, "Hey, wait a minute, isn't that the son of Joseph, the carpenter?" They just couldn't wrap their brain around the idea that that snot-nosed little kid who used to run around the carpentry shop was now bringing them the words of salvation. And Jesus understood what they were thinking, and he cited several examples from Scripture of various prophets of old who were not well received in their homeland. Those prophets were only able to successfully minister to those who did not have preconceived ideas about them. Sometimes we have the same problem when we're trying to minister to close friends or family members who've drifted away from the church, or who are missing God in their lives for whatever reason. We can try desperately to encourage them to return to the church, and we can try to be good examples of people of faith for them. Yet despite our best efforts, it's rare that one can evangelize their own friends and family. I've mentioned in previous videos that I drifted away from the church for many years, and of course my mother did everything she could to encourage me to return. Well, she was helpful when I did return. The catalyst for my return came from outside sources. Now, I've been back in the church for 25 years now. I teach RCIA classes. I facilitate the Catholics Returning Home program, in addition to producing these videos. And I'm sure there's members of my family who look at me and wonder, wasn't this the same guy that just a few years ago didn't want to have anything to do with God or church? So I think the message of today's gospel is to not be frustrated if our evangelization efforts among our own people, our family, our friends, our co-workers, if those evangelization efforts seem to fall on deaf ears. It should not discourage us from trying to be good evangelists in other areas. There's always going to be something about our faith story that's going to be just the right thing to touch someone else and call them to a deeper relationship with God and to explore their faith. And we need to open ourselves to be ministered to by those around us, even if we're a bit skeptical. Like I said, it turned out Mike was a great dentist, and we've been going to him for 25 years. So we may be uncomfortable hearing good news from friends and family, but we should not discount what they have to offer us, and we should not be discouraged if our own sharing of faith is not very well received among our own people. Turns out Jesus had the same problems in his hometown. A prophet is never welcome in his own home. That's Good News on Tap for the fourth Sunday of Ordinary Time.